And welcome to Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation Podcast. I am your host, Brett J. Rasmussen. Spectre is sadly not here today. He is right now in the process of moving around stuff in his house and isn't able to be here, so it's just gonna be me. Yay! This is episode 65. And we are going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. We're going to be talking about PS5 missing its goal in its sales goal in 2021. We're going to be talking about how PlayStation is putting $300 million into first-party games. Gotham Knights will not be on PS4 and Xbox One. And in our main topic, in our PlayStation conversation, we are going to be talking about Jim Ryan's emails. So we will talk about that in our PlayStation conversation. But yes, this is episode 65. I am your host, Brett J. Rasmussen. But yeah, so normally I would go ahead and be like, oh, what's up, Spectre? But he's not here, so it's just me. So what has Brett been up to? Well, sorry, a little something caught in my throat. For me, I have pretty much been outside of, doing normal stuff and working and stuff. I have been playing Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, which has been great fun. Pretty much it's been a lull time for video games and stuff. Nothing big has come out. Outside of, Evil Dead has come out recently. I know Sifu came out physically recently, but I've pretty much just been playing just a few games here and there. Of course, I've been playing Destiny 2. That's been my, game where I'm, just, I wanted to kill some time and stuff, but other than that, I've been playing Skywalker Saga. I've been playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is really good. I've been enjoying that. So, yeah, just pretty much been playing the normal stuff, just kind of waiting until we get to June, where we're going to be getting our, we know when Summer Game Fest is, we know when the Xbox and Bethesda showcase is, we don't know when PlayStation's is, but if I was a betting man, it probably won't be in June, it'll probably be more like in January, February, March, June, July, probably July, August, around there. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to, and yeah, so sorry, my throat is just bothering me. I apologize. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to. Haven't really been trophy hunting or anything, but yeah. With all that being said, why don't we just go ahead and get started? That's what's going on in my life. So we're just going to go ahead and get into the news. Let's begin with what we always begin with. News of the Nation! Great. All right. So we got that going. All right. Good. So let's begin. Our first topic is that PS5 misses its 2021 sales goal, but aims for its strongest year yet. So this comes from IGN. So it says here, quote, Sony's PlayStation 5 has now sold 19.3 million units, but fell short of its original fiscal year of 2021 sales target by 3.3 million. Despite the dip, Sony still expects to sell more units than ever before in the next year. Sony originally forecasted selling 14.8 million units of PS5 hardware in its second year on the market, but Sony revealed in its latest financial earnings result that it instead sold 11.5 million units. This matches the late adjustment that Sony made 2 months before the conclusion of the 2021 to 2022 fiscal year, which lowered the PS5 sales expectations to 11.5. As expected, the underperformance Sony puts the underperformance down to an ongoing difficulty of obtaining hardware components after global shortages. That would be the chip shortages that we've been hearing about, not only in video games, but also for cars and refrigerators and phones and really all the tech that we have and that we use in the modern day. Despite missing its goal, Sony set its goal for fiscal year 2022, which is between April and March. So April of this year, 2022, to March of next year, 2023, higher than before, and close to the 2 years combined at 18 million units. Let's see. Sony's chief financial officer, Hiroki Totoki, said in the earnings webcast that this is a, quote, number based on our current visibility into part procurement, meaning the company is still expecting component shortages an issue for the next year, which we have heard there have been other analysis guessing that chips will still be harder to get even until after 2023. It should be easier for consumers to get a PS5 than the past 2 years. However, as a target of 18 million is significantly higher than its sales for year 1, which was 7.8, and year 2, which was 11.5. And Sony is confident that it will hit that highest number. Talks about how they have changed how they are going to be acquiring the pieces. PS5 stock and inventory still remains very low in order to provide our PlayStation units to customers on a smooth and timely basis. In that sense, we're still behind. So again, and of course, all of the sources will be in the description below. I have the PlayStation, the earnings webcast that they had down in there, and there's also some articles from Bloomberg, kind of just recapping all of this also, and talking a little bit more from sales numbers and a little bit more in depth about numbers, business. So yes, it has been harder to get a PS5 over the past 2 years. In 2020, they still launched the systems, and pretty much if you didn't get them day one or whatever, we heard the stories you would have to spend over $1,000. People would spend $800+ to get a PS5 off eBay and stuff from the scalpers, and the scalping market was horrendous. People using bots and stuff. That's why, there are all these different ways of doing it, of acquiring the PS5 now. Now it's only in store at, your GameStop or Best Buy and that kind of stuff. They're pretty much trying to figure out a way to stop the bots doing it. And then the demand of the PS5 is still ridiculously high. Excuse me. Is still ridiculously high. That's why they're not meeting their sales numbers, is because they are not able to make enough PS5s for consumers, for the customers to get. That's why we talked about it in, I believe it was our last episode, in episode 64, if not the episode 63, where Xbox is able to make more systems. So, regardless of how they're acquiring the pieces, whether they're using cheaper ports or because Microsoft has way more money to spend, they have way more free money to use. They're spending more money to be first in line to get the chips or whatever. Again, I do not know. For all I know, I could be speculating, but I have heard that. But somehow, some way, there are more Xbox Series X's and S's, especially the S's, Series S, out in the wild than there are of PS5s. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword. The way I look at it is that the demand of the PS5 is so high that they're gone almost instantly, which is good. That's good. The demand of the PS5 is still very high. People still want to pick them up, whether it's play Elden Ring and the exclusives like Horizon and, all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, you have God of War Ragnarok coming out. But the other thing is that we talked about how there are other consumers that they don't care about what brand system they go with, whether it's an Xbox or a PlayStation. They want the next biggest thing. They want to be able to play their Call of Duty and their FIFA and their Madden and, you know, the yearly one or two games that they get every year. That's why, and that's why all the sports games and Call of Duty, it has been the biggest selling games over the past year. It's always those games. I have a little bit more to talk about Call of Duty later, but in recent times, that's what would happen. So people, if it is that PS5s are harder to get, but Series X's are easier to get, people will go ahead and get a Series X because, well, it's right here. I can just spend $500, get it, then, bam, done. Some people aren't as connected to... I'm sorry. Some people aren't connected to the ecosystem of PlayStation or Xbox. They just want to play their games and whatever. So this is it is a high bar for them to go for 18 million. They wanted to go for 18 million units sold. It can be possible, but it just depends on how many units and how many, pieces, all the chip shortages and stuff. They're able to get the pieces quick enough and is able to, well, not only get the pieces, but then also make the systems quick enough to get them out into stores, your local Best Buys and GameStops and Targets and so on and so on. So it is a big order to get, a big order to do, but it can be possible. And of course, with PlayStation really leaning into its first party games and really when you buy a PlayStation, you're going to be getting top quality when it comes to their exclusive games. Now, Microsoft has been working hard because they acquired a bunch of companies. They acquired Bethesda. They are currently are acquiring Activision. It just has to go through FTC, all that kind of stuff to finalize it. But they also have other studios that are working on other games. It's not just Gears, it's not just Halo, it's not just Forza, it's a bunch of other stuff, Fable and Awoken, or all the game by Obsidian and that kind of stuff. So we're gonna see. I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen at the Xbox showcase, because really I want to see what Xbox on the exclusive end can do. Just to quickly talk about Xbox for a little bit more. This is a PlayStation podcast, but I'm just going to mention this, is that Xbox and Microsoft did put out a tweet. They put on their Twitter, they said that they're delaying Redfall and Starfield into 2023. Which those two games were going to be the big games of this year. For Xbox, because those are going to be exclusive. Those are not going to be multi-platform. Those are only going to be exclusive to Xbox. Which, yeah, it sucks. I get it. I understand why fans are upset and everything, because that's the next big thing. We cannot wait to play it. But I am all about companies delaying their games for however long it needs to take. As long as the game comes out good, that's all that matters. And one of the reasons that was reported why they delayed it is because they did not want a Cyberpunk problem. They did not want to push it out at that date and then have pretty much a Cyberpunk problem. And that is smart for Xbox, because this is kind of like your first impression, your best foot forward kind of thing, where this is your big name exclusive on the system. It's really it could show off how powerful that Series X is. Or it may not just be, just a really good game. Who knows? But I know that outside of Elden Ring, Starfield has been the other most anticipated game of the year. So, yeah, it got delayed, and that's totally fine. So, with that happening, we're going to be kind of seeing how these systems are going to turn out over this generation. This generation has been really weird, but we're going to see how that turns out. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Let's move on. Next topic is that FIFA will develop new soccer games after they're split from EA. So the FIFA organization, which is the organization that holds the World Cup and all that kind of stuff, they are no longer having their licenses with EA. So, with that being said, this article comes from IGN. It begins, quote, with the announcement of EA and FIFA's split, FIFA will work with other third-party developers to launch new soccer games and non-simulation games that are already in the works and are planned to be released in Q3 of 2022. After almost 30 years, EA will no longer release soccer games under the FIFA banner starting in 2023. EA cites the high price tag and creative restrictions as reasons for the split. But FIFA will now work with other developers to keep its name in the video game atmosphere. Continuing, quote, I can assure you that the only authentic real game that has the FIFA name will be the best one available for gamers and football, which is soccer, fans. The FIFA name is only global original title. FIFA 23, FIFA 24, FIFA 25, and FIFA 26, so on and so on and so on. Just the years. FIFA year blank. The constant is the FIFA name, and it will remain forever and remain the best, says FIFA president Gianni Infantino in a statement. He continued then, quote, the interactive gaming and esports sector is on a path of unrivaled growth and diversification. FIFA's strategy is to ensure that we can make the most of all future options and ensure a wide range of products and opportunities for gamers, fans, member associations, and partners. Additionally, EA will be able to publish FIFA 23 later this year as the company was given the extension for the simulation soccer category only. This allows other studios and publishers to create different kinds of games using the FIFA name. Going forward, EA's FIFA series will now be called EA Sports FC. After it releases FIFA 23 later this year, EA's Vice President David Jackson clarifies that the only name and World Cup content will change in its future soccer games and that it has already signed deals with teams and leagues including Premier League and UEFA. Okay. And that's pretty much that. And so it cites that the reason why they broke up is because of FIFA wanting more money for EA to use their name. There is a kind of continuation of this. I'll kind of go on from this. During the earnings call, this was updated on May 10th at 2:30 Pacific time. During today's earnings call, this is continuing from IGN. During today's earnings call, EA CEO Andrew Wilson offered a bit more context on why the publisher made the decision to part ways with FIFA, emphasizing the ability of EA to work with even more partners and to create more focused football experiences for specific international markets. Quote, when we think about the future of football right now, we really made this decision on the basis of being able to deliver experiences that our players wanted. They told us they wanted more modalities of play. They told us they wanted to see more commercial partners in the game and that are representative and authentic to the broad global world of football. They're telling us they want us to move beyond just the core experience and to build out this digital football experience, and they're telling us they want us to move really, really fast. It continues, the important thing to understand is that you travel around the world, you meet players who are really deeply engaged with the game. For a player in the UK, the most important thing to them is the Premier League. For a player in Germany, the most important thing is Bundesliga. I'm sorry, I'm probably saying that wrong. In Spain, it's La Liga, and so on and so forth as you go around the world. What we're focused on right now is building very unique experiences for each of those fans in each of those markets, and what you've seen today is many of our partners come out in support of our ability to do this for our fans. Blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of corporate speak. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, it's pretty much they are no longer doing it. the license, money plays a critical role in the negotiations. Yeah, it makes total sense. FIFA wants more money for that. I, as I said before, I don't watch the sports ball. I don't. I don't watch football. I do not watch American football. I don't watch basketball. I don't watch baseball. My whole thing is professional wrestling. So I do have some things to say, but it's probably going to be more related to how, because like I follow a lot of wrestling news and a lot of wrestling media to kind of know what's happening in the space, but it makes sense. It doesn't surprise me at all that FIFA wanted more money from EA or whatever to pay for their licenses. No matter how much it is, they're probably paying billions of dollars to get the license to use FIFA. And that has been the soccer game from that. I look at this as a good thing, because now we're going to be getting different soccer games, different football games out there. And like, if EA is going, well, we can't use the FIFA name, we can't use the teams from FIFA, so we're going to use the Premier League and stuff. And mind you, I've never heard of the Premier League, but that's also because I don't watch soccer. If they're getting other prominent, well-known teams and, to be able to use, not just, Germany and Ireland and just the generic, who are you guys teams? Because we've seen the backyard baseball and it's not the branded base, but it's not MLB, it's not Madden, it's not FIFA, it's not NHL, it's just the generic whatever. It's still baseball, it's still football, it's still hockey, it's still soccer, all that kind of stuff. We've seen these games happen before, all that kind of stuff, but they don't sell as well as the branded ones, which is Madden and NBA and so on. So I'm actually happy about this, because EA has been doing the whole Ultimate Team bullcrap on their games, and has been it's just microtransactions, and you have to, if you want to play competitively, competitive FIFA is the Ultimate Team. That's your competitive FIFA. And you're trying to pull the best cards and the best players with the best stats. So even though you got the best player, his stats aren't rolled well. You have a 0.001 chance to get the guy or whatever. And it makes sense that, with the money being asked for to use FIFA, for instance, I follow WWE and AEW and all that kind of stuff. And, in wrestling, there are licenses, all these sports companies, the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, all of them, MLB, NBA, NFL, WWE, AEW, that kind of stuff, all these that are making games. They are charging companies to use their licenses and likeness in the video game. And, as I have talked about before in one of our past episodes, WWE, when WWE 2K22 came out, it had to do well. This game had to land. It had to come out well. It had to be playable. It had to be fun. It had to be good. If it didn't, Take-Two, 2K, was going to lose the license, and WWE, it was rumored that they were going to go to EA to sell their license and for EA to make games. Thank God that didn't happen. But it is a money thing. FIFA wants more money for their stuff to be used. So it does make sense. And it's going to be really exciting to see what other developers are going to use the FIFA name. Who's going to get the FIFA name? I really do hope that FIFA does not this isn't, you cannot have an exclusive contract with the FIFA name. That they're going, all right, other guys, we're going to, Ubisoft does this, and Take-Two does this, and whoever else wants to use the FIFA name, they can go ahead and use it and make it fun. So that way we have competition. We have different types of FIFA games out in the wild. That's going to be really good. So I really do hope that with this split, which I'm fine with, I'm not mad about it at all, that the split we have here will create different, multiple FIFA games. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Let's move on. Next topic is that PlayStation is putting $300 million more into first-party games, aiming for, quote, multiple platforms. So like more like second-party games, and I'll talk more. Again, this is from IGN. Sony is investing a further $300 million into its first-party PlayStation studio as a two-pronged strategy to grow its gaming business, alongside releasing games on, quote, multiple platforms. Revealed in its latest earnings call, Sony made clear this investment is for developing software at existing studios, such as God of War Santa Monica or Horizon Forbidden West Guerrilla Games, and is separate to its acquisition plan. So it sounds like this $300 million is only to bulk up the current studios they have. Whatever other money that they use to acquire whatever other studios, that is not part of this piece of the pie. Continuing, quote, we plan to increase software development expenses aimed at strengthening first-party software at our existing studios by approximately $308 million, or 40 billion yen. Going forward, we aim to grow the game business by strengthening our first-party software and deploying that software on multiple platforms. End quote. Continue. Sony didn't go into what platforms it means, but it's likely refers to the joint PS4 and PS5 release of games such as Miles Morales, God of War Ragnarok, and its venture into releasing games on PC, which is good. Regardless, Sony clearly sees great value in its first-party software, as it has continued to increase its investment in owned studios each year, highlighted in the graph below, and it shows first-party sales growing in line with the increased funding, which is true. Every single first-party game has, with the budget have gotten higher, people have been wanting to buy the system for said exclusive. I've had a good number of friends, like when Marvel Spider-Man first came out back in 2018, people bought PS4s for Marvel Spider-Man. And then like God of War 2018, that's another game. Like that game was talked about most of the year. It won Game of the Year. We gave it Game of the Year. And it's a fantastic game. That's why God of War Ragnarok is one of the most anticipated games. Like if you like, it's Elden Ring, it's Starfield, it's God of War Ragnarok, that kind of stuff. Continuing, Sony added, in addition to acquiring studios such as Bungie and Haven in recent years, we have significantly increased our investment in content development in our existing studios. As a result, our first-party software development has increased at a high rate. That is not necessarily slowing down on purchasing other developers, of course. Just as last week, Sony advertised a new position for Director of Corporate Development. So meaning they are looking, they want to hire someone to help or lead in the acquisition of other studios, other smaller name, other indie studios that they want to work with, maybe not own, as in like become a PlayStation studio, but to do like exclusive contracts with. That could be a thing too. It purchased Bungie in February. Okay, good. So, good. This is a good thing. The reason why I became such a hardcore PlayStation fan was back in the PS3 times. I had a PS1 when I was a kid. That was my very first system. That was like PS1. I remember playing Crash and Spyro and Tomba and all like the movies like Harry Potter and all the tie-ins That's what I had. And then I went to an original Xbox, didn't play PS2 until the PS3 time. I got a Fat Boy PS3. And then I pretty much, when I bought that, instead of buying PS3 games, I bought a bunch of PS2 games. So I got like God of War 2, Kingdom Hearts, all that stuff. Games that came out during the PS2 that I didn't get to play. And I played all those games. And then I played Infamous. And, you know, I love PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. I play, you know, you got remasters of Ico and Shadow Colossus. You got... just Uncharted came out during that time. You pretty much had the game defining that generation, which was The Last of Us. Like the first Last of Us. Like, that game defined that generation. It's then really... PlayStation, the PS3 had to play from behind because the Xbox 360 came out a year before the PS3. So they already had sales ahead of PlayStation. And then the 360 was cheaper. The PS3 came out at $600, and it was just this expensive bulk of a machine, and it was hard to develop for because it was using proprietary tech that wasn't easy to develop for. Like, it was ridiculous. But the PS3 was able to come up ahead, like pretty much come up near the end of the year, near the end of the generation, match up to the 360, and then eke just right ahead of the 360 if we're looking at like number of units and sales and stuff like that. And that's because outside of like, you know, making their system cheaper, you know, making the slim and the super slim, going after, you know, prices, but then also they're trying to make it easier for other companies to develop for. That's really what they did with the PS4. That's why the PS4 was a really good system. But they doubled down on exclusives. They really were going gung-ho on exclusives. You know, you had Uncharted 2, and you had The Last of Us, and you had so many other fantastic exclusives coming from PlayStation. I love Sly 4. I know PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale had a lot of problems, and it was just a Smash clone that wasn't as good as Smash Brothers. But I still had fun playing it with my friends and all that kind of stuff. Was it balanced? Not really, but like, there's so many good exclusives that came out on PS3 that I had fun with. And that's what made me fall in love with PlayStation. Like, that's why I was like, I had to get a PS4 day one. Had to get it. And that's why I got a PS5 day one too. So them really investing in their first party, investing in exclusives, is a fantastic idea. And this money, this $308 million, is only going towards investing into the first party. And also, it sounds like second party. Second party, I don't know if it's an actual term. I like to call it second party. Second party, what I call it by second party is that it's a third party developer or publisher, like a Ubisoft, like a Square Enix, like a Take-Two, so on and so on. They make third party games. They make games for both Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo and okay, that's your third party games. That's your Maddens, that's your Call of Duty. But PlayStation likes to make deals with these third party studios to get exclusive content for them. So, like, for instance, you have Deathloop, which made by Bethesda before Arcane Studios, specifically from Bethesda, before Bethesda got bought by Xbox. That's a second party game that has a 1-year exclusivity deal with PlayStation. So by September, Deathloop will now be able to be played and be able to be sold on Xbox. Final Fantasy VII Remake, that's a second party game. That's only on PlayStation. Even though Square Enix makes third party games, they gave exclusivity to PlayStation when it first came out, or whatever. Ghostwire Tokyo is another one of recent memory that is exclusive. So on and so on. So that's, and like, Call of Duty had, with, in the 2000s, Activision had a exclusive deal with Microsoft and Xbox with Call of Duty. And then after that, it was like in 2014. Yeah, it was 2014. PlayStation then got the deal where they got exclusive content, so on and so on and so on. So that's the other side. That not only it's like we want to support our first party, the PlayStation Studios, we also want, when it says multiple platforms, to me it makes it sound like they want it to go for second parties. They want to go to the Square Enixes, the Ubisofts, those companies to be like, hey, we want some kind of exclusivity to our brand, to PlayStation. What we're seeing in the video game space, we're seeing a lot of we've seen studios being acquired, a ton of like Haven and Bungie being acquired by PlayStation, and then over the past 3 years we've seen Microsoft just acquired a bunch of indie studios like Double Fine and so on. They then acquired Bethesda, all of it, everything Bethesda, and now they're acquiring Activision, which that's probably the biggest acquisition they have ever gotten. Excuse me. So we're seeing this kind of, in the video game space, this kind of you buy a PS5, you're still going to get your third-party games. No matter what, you're still going to get your third-party games because that's what sells. You're still going to get your Maddens, you're still going to get all that kind of stuff. Call of Duty, I don't know, but the deal hasn't finished yet, so we'll see with Call of Duty. But with your sports games, third-party, so on and so on. But we are hitting a time and a space where exclusivity is going to be more prevalent in the video game space. And I don't mind that personally, because that creates competition. The way I look at it, there's this stuff over here on PlayStation, there's this stuff over here on Xbox. So it creates if you want to play everything, you got to have both systems, but this is about making money. These companies are here to make money. So having these now we're kind of going into this space where exclusives are becoming a more sought after. It's what these companies want a bit more. That's what I'm seeing. So yeah. I have nothing else more to say. Let's move on. Next topic is that Gotham Knights PS4 and Xbox One versions have been canceled. So this is coming from the Video Games Chronicle, and this is what it has to say. Gotham Knights will no longer be released for PS4 and Xbox One, it has been announced. Coinciding with the release of new gameplay footage on this past week. Warner Brothers issued the following statement: Gotham Knights is scheduled to launch worldwide on October 25th, 2022. Please note, to provide players with the best possible gameplay experience, the game will release on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, and will not be available for PS4, PlayStation 4, or Xbox One consoles. Gotham Knights is being developed by WB Games Montreal and is led by creative director Patrick Redding, who previously directed the Splinter Cell titles Conviction and Blacklist. Nice. It was initially planned for release last year, before it got delayed. So it was supposed to come out last year, but then the game got delayed into further, which is now this year. Which they needed that delay to give it more time to deliver the best possible experience for players. Gotham Knights, so on and so on, and the Gotham Knights can be played in a co-op despite an update on the PSN page for the game suggesting suggesting it could support 4 players. It appears to be 2 players only for now. So right now you have 4 characters you get to play in Gotham Knights. You get Red Hood, Nightwing, Batgirl, and Nightwing. And and Robin. I'm sorry, I repeated. I said Nightwing twice. Get Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, and Red Hood. There we go. Ha. But right now, apparently, it's only 2-player co-op, I guess, you can play. I don't know. It should be 4. That'd be really fun if we could do 4. That'd be really fun. But anyway. So, this game being delayed, one from last year, now it's coming out this year. And that gameplay, that 14-minute gameplay trailer looks great. And with it not being on PlayStation, like the PS4 and Xbox One, honestly, I'm so okay with this. I am totally fine with this. We need to start getting to a point where, like, you know, as we talked about before, Xbox One, Xbox Series X's are Series X's and S's are easier to get right now, and PlayStation it has even been easier to get a PS5 within this past year than it has ever been. It still is hard to get, but it's not as crazy as it was back in 2020 or even last year in 2021. So with this being said, we need to start getting to a place where now, if you want to play the newest, most awesome game, you need to get it on PS5. Because now we're getting to some of the most anticipated games are only on PS5. Deathloop is PS5 only. Ghostwire Tokyo is PS5 only. I think it was said that God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, Miles Morales, or no, not Miles Morales, but there were a bunch of other games, like, but those three I remember they wanted them to be PS5 exclusive, but because it was so hard to acquire a PS5 when, you know, last year when they announced it or the year before, PlayStation was like, all right, we can have it be cross-platform, we can have it be PS4 and PS5, but with that, like, we even saw, like, with Horizon Forbidden West, we saw Horizon Forbidden West runs better on the PS5 than it does on the PS4. There are some, like, kind of just minor graphic tears or graphic problems. They're not massive. It's not a huge problem, but it runs better on a PS5 than it does on a PS4. And yeah, we're getting to a point where, like, the transition of the next generation is now, you know, it's here. So I am not mad at this at all. Because let's say, for instance, because when they announced this game, they wanted to be PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, da-da-da-da. If they truly wanted it to be on past gen, you would probably have to push this game back another year. You would have to push it back into 2023, which I don't think WB wants that to happen. They want this game out so that way it can make its money. So I don't have a problem with this game being only on current gen, only on PS5 and Series X. I have no problem with that whatsoever. So honestly, I see that as a good thing. I'm excited for this game. This game is going to be great. I'm excited. Rocksteady, who's been doing the Arkham games, is doing that Suicide Squad game. That looks like fun. But, like, from that gameplay trailer of this game of Gotham Knights, this game looks fun. I'm looking forward to playing this game. But yeah, let's move on. Next topic is that PlayStation AAA quality would, quote, deteriorate if it was put on PlayStation Plus at launch. This is from Eurogamer. Quote, PlayStation has said it would have to cut budgets and lower the quality of its AAA games if they were to be included at PlayStation Plus at launch. Continuing quote, I will refrain from making comments on the competitor strategy. PlayStation executive Hiroki Totoki said in that in financial call. That's the same financial call I talked about earlier in the show. Continuing the quote, our current thing is to have development costs and appropriate R&D investment for quality products, and that will improve the platform and also improve the business in the long run. AAA type titles on PS5. If we distribute that on subscription services, we may need to shrink the investment needed for that, and that will deteriorate the first-party title quality, and that is our concern. He concluded, so we want to make sure we spend the appropriate development costs to have solid products and titles to be introduced in the right manner. And this also goes in line with what Jim Ryan has said in the past. Jim Ryan has said that the games that we make are getting bigger, they're getting better, they're getting more beautiful, they're getting richer, the narrative is getting stronger. Putting those games into a subscription service immediately upon their release would break the virtuous cycle, and we wouldn't be able to invest in the way that we currently are able to do. So we're not doing that. Excuse me. So, and then they talk about the $300 million investing. Blah, 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 blah. So, okay. So, first, we have talked about our opinion, my opinion, Inspector's opinion, on the new PlayStation Plus that's happening in June, where it's now fusing PlayStation Now and Plus into a whole thing, and it's a whole mess. I'm not just like, again, go, if you want to know our opinions, go watch our episode, This is Sparta, on here. But I do agree that, because here's the thing, I get why Microsoft going, hey, spend $10 or $15 per month on Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate respectively, and you want to play Halo Infinite day one, all you need is Game Pass. You don't have to spend the $60 or $70 for that game. You can just go ahead and just, as long as you have Game Pass, you got it. Same with Gears 5 and Forza and all the other newer games. Starfield is going to be a Game Pass of day one launch, all that kind of stuff. And pretty much Game Pass has been, if you ask, what is Game Pass? It's the Netflix of video games. It's pretty much you spend $10 and you get access to a library of games that you can just download to your system and then you play them. Bam! And I've used Game Pass on my Series X, and it is great. It is a great service. Don't get me wrong. The Game Pass is a great service. I'm going to say what my opinion is of the new PlayStation Plus when it hits in June. Hopefully it is just as good. PlayStation did announce, so, okay, so with all of that, PlayStation choosing to have their games not be on Plus at launch, honestly, is a smart idea business-wise. Business-wise, it makes sense. Yes, for us, the consumer, it does suck. It does suck that we're like, oh, so if you want to play Horizon, you still got to shell out $60 to $70 in order to get it. If you want to play God of War Ragnarok, you still got to shell out $60 to $70 for that. You want to play all the new PlayStation games, got to shell out money for that. I get it. I get it why some people would be upset about that, because on Game Pass, on the other side, you just spend $10 and you got an access to a library. But it kind of has been shown that, some people will play through, a game on Game Pass and play through it completely as if they owned it. But the thing with Game Pass that I have found is that people, kind of what I've seen, what has been said online with my friend group, is that with Game Pass, because you have such an access to so many different games, you can people will download a game, play it for a little bit, and then drop it, and then move on to the next thing, or move on. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this. I don't like that. And that, I think, is why PlayStation is worried and doesn't want to put their games on PlayStation Plus, because how is PlayStation supposed to make their money back? They're putting out these Game of the Year every single year since 2016, since Uncharted 4. That's what I can remember. Every single year since 2016, a PlayStation exclusive has been nominated for Game of the Year, somehow, some way. And it's either wins Game of the Year or it's nominated for Game of the Year. Every single year, there's at least one, and sometimes there's two. 2018 had two of them. But at least there's one Game of the Year contender. And that's a big deal. Getting Game of the Year for a game is a big deal. It gives it's money. It's having that name Game of the Year is a big deal. Having that on your box art, people go, oh, that must mean it's a really good game. I wonder why. PlayStation would definitely lose money if they put it on Plus. Is it consumer friendly? No, because with what Game Pass is doing, having, Halo day one, that's rad. I don't have to go ahead and go out and spend $60 to get Halo Infinite. I already have Game Pass. I got the multiplayer. I got the campaign. I'm good. I'm set. The difference is, as we have talked before, is that Microsoft has money to blow. They're acquiring studios left and right. And they have so much free money to use, they don't know what to do with it. PlayStation doesn't have... They have money. I'm not saying they don't have money, but if we look at the grand scheme of things, they don't have as much, leeway with things as Microsoft does. So, with that happening, I do agree... Business-wise, I get it why they're going, no, we're not putting our exclusive games on day one, because you're literally leaving money on the table. People will go out and buy, I even said this before, people will go out and buy a console just for Marvel Spider-Man. People will go out and buy consoles for one game. We have seen this before. Last of Us Part 2, no matter what your opinion is of that game, of the narrative and everything, that game sold. Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon Forbidden West. Yes, Elden Ring took all the momentum away from Horizon, but Horizon still sold well. It didn't sell as well as Elden Ring. Elden Ring has been the game of this year. But God of War Ragnarok 2018, Ghost of Tsushima, all of that stuff. That is money being left on the table. And if you're a business, again, this is about making money. Yes, we love video games, and video games are art. I love video games. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking to you guys. But this is also a business. They have to make money. If they don't make money, these games don't exist. Who's going to pay the developers and all that to do the work? So, I get, business-wise, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just relaying the point. I get, business-wise, why they're like, nope, not on Plus. Does it suck for us? Yes. Because you still have to shell out $60, $70 day one. Where the competitors on Xbox, and that's a big deal. That is a big deal where Xbox goes, oh, you don't have to drop $60 for the next Halo, for Starfield, for Redfall, for the next Indiana Jones game. You just have Game Pass. $10 per month. All good. Microsoft and PlayStation's financial plan on how to make money are so vastly different now. And we're going to see how well this new PlayStation Plus happens. Right now, it's confusing, and it is not cheap. It is, especially if you want the top-end version per year, it is not cheap. So, I don't know. But, as I said before, just my ending statement is that I understand why they want God of War Ragnarok, why they want Horizon Forbidden West, these exclusives to not be on Plus, that you have to go out and buy them. It makes sense business-wise. But yeah, let's move on. Next topic is that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order developer claims requests for a black and or female lead were rejected. This comes from Games Radar. So, it says, a former lighting artist claims developers lobbied for a different protagonist design. So, in Jedi Fallen Order, you have a white ginger male who is Cal Kestis, doing the thing, being the main character. A former Respawn developer has revealed staff originally wanted the protagonist of Jedi Fallen Order to be black or a woman. In a Twitter post on May 10th, former Respawn lighting artist Nora Shremick claimed developers of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order advocated for the game's protagonist to be black and or a woman. However, the former Respawn dev reveals the group met resistance when asking for this, and the idea was ultimately shot down. Here is the tweet from this. It is... Okay, so here we go. This is from Nora. This is her Twitter post. It says, when I worked on Jedi Fallen Order, a lot of devs wanted and advocated for the main character to be black and or a woman. Reasons for no, we already have 2 black people in the game. Rey is a woman, and we can't do that to guess what the demographic of the people making those decisions looked like. The worst thing I heard was when someone, not going to give any info here, said, I think all the black people need to have more glossy skin because black people have more oily skin than other people. Dead shock on everyone's face. Look at me. Right, Nora? Me, WTF is wrong with you. But no, the greatest industry isn't systemically racist, misogynistic, or homophobic, using sarcasm. She puts parentheses in sarcasm, so that's that. Anyway, randomly watched a great video and really fired me up and made me think of my experiences in the industry, and it's a YouTube video that says, why no black people in video games? I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going about her tweet. If you want to go watch it, this Twitter post is in the description. You can please go follow it. Please go ahead and watch this video that Nora, retweeted and all that. Please be my guest, and I would love to hear what you guys think. I'm not blaming EA, Disney, etc. I'm saying that individuals have power in the process. If those individuals have massive privilege and by the nature of their life experiences shelter them from a full view, that means they need to be extra intentional about their choices. So then let's go back to the article. So, it's not entirely clear, this is from back to the article, it's not entirely clear from her tweets who exactly at Respawn shot down the proposal, but the dev hints that it wasn't just one person opposing the idea. She says that those opposed making Fallen Order's protagonist black and or woman believe they didn't need to since the game already featured 2 black characters, which was said in the tweet. Additionally, Rey, being a female protagonist of the sequel trilogy, factored into the idea of being shut down. Shremick gives some valuable insight into how Jedi Fallen Order's protagonist ultimately came to be, and the sort of protagonist we could have had instead if the studio didn't get in the way. So we have Calcastus, and then of course it says that Respawn is maybe working on Jedi Fallen Order 2. Okay. So let me go back to the Twitter post, because that's probably going to be the best place to kind of pull this from. So, from my opinion, if it was a black man, a black woman, whatever, to me, as long as the character still made sense, so if everything that happens in the game of Jedi Fallen Order, representation is definitely important. Having representation in video games, in movies, in TV shows, in the workforce, in general, is very important. I'm all about representation. I'm all about that kind of stuff. For me, I don't get why Disney or EA was like, well, Rey's a girl. We can't have a woman in the game because people will get confused that that's Rey. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And they already have two black people in the game, so they didn't want the main character to be black. Like, what? What? Okay, you can have another one. Like, it's okay. So I kind of just throw my hands up in the air and just kind of just I'm like it's a bit baffling. It's really baffling. Like, why they didn't. It is what it is. Cal Kestis, and Cal Kestis is great. And the actor they had for Cal, I love him. He is great. He played like the proto Joker in Gotham, which I very much enjoyed. Um, oh man, I want to go ahead and pull up his name. He's a phenomenal actor. Um, Cameron Monaghan. Cameron Monaghan is a great. Like, they casted someone fantastic for Cal Kestis. Um, and even if they chose, like, let's say they did go with a black woman or, a black dude or whatever, they would have casted I can see that they would have casted the right actor to be, Cal Kestis or whoever they would have named the protagonist of Jedi Fallen Order. You still would have had a good, if you kept the character the same from Jedi Fallen Order, but it's either a black guy or a black woman or a white woman or whatever ethnicity or whatever. It doesn't, like, it still would have been good. So I personally don't get why Disney or EA or whoever was like, well, we can't have a woman because raising the sequel trilogy, which sequel trilogy is kind of and then why you can't have another black person in the game even though you have two of them. Like, what? Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. It is what it is. Cal Kestis is going to be the protagonist in Jedi Fallen Order 2 if they do a second one. So I don't like it is baffling. I do agree. It is baffling. Why it's not, they chose with this reasoning why it's not, because we should have representation in video game, but I am also about having the character fit the place. Again, to me, you can, with the game, I played it, I beat it, platinumed it, all that kind of stuff. Anyone could go ahead and fit into that role. Anyone. And I think that's why they wanted to be that. I'm all about representation. That is a big deal. But as long as it fits. If you're doing representation for representation's sake, just because you're trying to check off a checklist, that's when I raise my eyebrow and I'm like, why? But that's another topic for another time. In this specific instance, in this thing right here, I have no problem if Cal Kestis, if the studio, whether it's Disney, whether it's EA, whether it's Upperheads at Respawn, whoever, they went with a black guy or a black woman or a guy of another ethnicity or a woman of another ethnicity, it would have fit the job. They would have got the right actor to play said role, and it would have still been awesome, which Jedi Fallen Order is an awesome game. Let's move on. Next topic is that EA teases 4 games for 2023. This is going to be very quick. This is from IGN. EA offered its investors a sneak peek at what it's got cooking for 2023 during an earnings report, including a planned, quote, major IP as well as unannounced remake. A slide on EA's Q4 2022 earnings presentation gives a look at its next 4 months of releases, with F1 2022 in Q1, FIFA and Madden NFL for Q2, Need for Speed and NHL in Q3, and in Q4, which covers January to March of 2023, we get one named PGA Tour, but we also see 4 big enticing unknowns. It's a major IP, partner title, remake, and sports title. It's not exactly clear about what these are. The remake would be the Dead Space, which we got. We already got that shown. There was a whole like showcase for Dead Space, so it probably is that. I think it even said that it's going to come out in October, so it's probably that. Um, and then the major IP, it's probably the next Dragon Age game. And yeah, so again, just hey, they're gonna be 4 big games. It's a remake and a new IP coming out later this year. What the new IP is, I have no idea. The remake is probably Dead Space, and yeah, that's about it. I have literally nothing else to say. Next topic is that this is from Polygon. The next topic is that Elden Ring has outsold Call of Duty. This is a big deal. This is from Polygon. Elden Ring pulls off a rare feat, which is outselling Call of Duty. NPD says From Software's RPG is the US's biggest seller over the past 12 months, beating out Call of Duty Vanguard. So here's something we didn't expect, right? Elden Ring is the United States best-selling video game of the past 12 months, according to the NPD group, beating out a Call of Duty franchise that typically dominates the calendar year after year. It's important to remember that Elden Ring launched in February 25th. Matt Piscatella, the NPD group's top analysis for the video game market, revealed the numbers in a Twitter thread Friday morning that covered several other trends of the NPD measured for April. Yes, and let me pull up that Twitter thread. I have it right here. Doop. Here we go. Oh boy, it's long. It's really long. But the one where it starts, where this kind of the link from the post, and it's also in there, it goes, U.S. NPD Premium Games, Elden Ring was the second best-selling title of April 2022. Elden Ring remains the best-selling game of 2022 year-to-date and has surpassed Call of Duty Vanguard to become the best-selling premium game of the trailing 12-month period ending in 2022. And then it kind of goes through, there is a chart where, the number one spot is Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, only because that's that came out last month. Number 2 is Elden Ring. Then it's MLB, then Kirby, and then Nintendo Switch Sports, which just came out, and then so on. And then Call of Duty Vanguard is number 6. And then wow, Horizon is actually under it. So yeah, Elden Ring is the best-selling game of the year. Good. I'm very glad that that's the case. Good. Because Elden Ring is a good game. I'm going to be streaming it on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Brotherhood of Geeks. And I'm going to be playing that game. And it's a good game. Like, it's so... I don't know, every single time From Software does a game, it's always really good. But Elden Ring, I think what they have done with Elden Ring, what makes it so special and why it's like so unique is that they made it open world. I don't know, it's like, well, duh. But I think they had made a Soulsborne game so easily accessible, but yet it's not so easily accessible where they just made it like easy mode. It's still challenging. It's still hard. You're going to get your face kicked in. You could get the tar beaten out of you. It's still challenging, it's still hard, but it's really, really fun. It's still easily accessible to a lot of people. That is phenomenal. And mind you, like, Call of Duty Vanguard is just a meh game. Like, it's so just blasé, who cares? Like, mind you, I've never been a fan of Call of Duty. It's never been my game. I could care less. It's whatever. But Call of Duty has been bad, and it's just... Ugh. I mean, mind you, it says that... so this comes from Kotaku, so take this with a pinch of salt. But the article from Kotaku says that after its most recent earnings missed forecasts by some $300 million, the company blamed the poor results on the lukewarm reception of Call of Duty Vanguard. Um, the game's campaign was something of a time-hopping, globe-trotting mess, following a special operations task force as it tries to thwart secret Nazi plots near the end of the war. Uh, while Call of Duty remains one of the most successful entertainment franchises of all time, our 2021 premium release didn't meet our expectations. We believe primarily due to our own execution. And it said as it wrote in the annual report, the game's World War II setting didn't resonate with some of our community, and we didn't deliver as much innovation in the premium game as we would have liked. What? So the reason Call of Duty Vanguard sucks is because we placed it in World War II, which, like, how many of your games in the past you made it in World War II? Like, one, it's probably the law of diminishing returns because you've done it in World War II, like God knows how many times. But also, people love that, like, it sells. The reason why your game sucked is because it's boring. Nothing happens. That's why it's bad. You didn't put in the effort. It's just, the reason why it sucks is because you didn't put in effort. You're focusing more on your time on Warzone because that's what makes you money, and that's it. Your multiplayer in Warzone is what you care about. Like, that's what you care about. That's what sells the game. Yes, people buy the game to play the campaign. I'm not saying that the campaign doesn't matter, because we saw with Call of Duty Black Ops 4 when they ripped up the campaign, that game didn't sell well too. It sold better. It sold better than this game, but that's because you had the Black Ops name connected to it. Some people call Call of Duty Black Ops, just like, hey, I'm here to. Where can I buy Black Ops? Some people use the name Black Ops as Call of Duty. So, and then it doesn't help with all the crap that's been happening in Activision and stuff, and the Vanguard was such a hodgepodge of who cares. And Elden Ring, mind you, like with Elden Ring, how it's selling, it's like Elden Ring's a fantastic game, just in general. And it's like people have been saying, hey, if you like, Elden Ring has become people's first Soulsborne game. They've never played Bloodborne, they never played Sekiro, they never played Dark Souls, they never played Demon Souls. This is the first Soulsborne game people are playing, and people are loving it. Elden Ring is still one of the top games being streamed on Twitch. And there's a reason for that, because it's good. So, Call of Duty Vanguard is, I mean, again, it's the most blasé, who cares game. Like, Activision cares way more about Warzone because that's what makes them money. And the thing is, like, this game was created by developers who worked on Medal of Honor, Medal of Honor was a good game, but like, I think the thing is that people want set pieces. Call of Duty instead of it, because Vanguard's campaign was much more personal, and even though it didn't really do much, it was still very blasé. It was more of a personal story, and you can have personal stories in Call of Duty. You've seen it, but it's a lot of like set pieces. Call of Duty has kind of become Fast and Furious. It's about big dumb set pieces and big dumb things. It's not about the narrative of Call of Duty when it comes to its campaign is not about being deep and being stuff. You can have twists and turns, and you've had that in past Call of Duty games, but recently, very much recently, it's very much like Fast and Furious style. I want to blow up things, I want to shoot things. And mind you, I could be completely wrong. Because, again, I'm not a Call of Duty guy. It's not my bag. It's not my thing. But Vanguard is very blasé, and Elden Ring is a very good game. I I truly don't know if there's going to be a better game to come out this year than Elden Ring. I truly don't know. I am excited to see what's going to be coming out later this year. Especially we're going to be hitting June very soon to see the showcases and that kind of stuff. So we will see. But yeah, we like Elden Ring outsells Call of Duty. That's a big freaking deal. Well done From Software. Well done. Let's move on. Alrighty, and that is everything. That's everything from News of the Nation. That's all the news. Now I have one more thing to talk about, and it's another heavy topic. So, we're going to talk about this. Here we go. Let's begin. This is our PlayStation conversation. PlayStation. Okay, so this is a very heavy topic, and I'm going to try to talk about this with as much sensitivity and lightness as I possibly can, okay? But it is a touchy subject. No matter where you come from, whatever take you have, you know, we got to talk about this now, because woof. But in our episode 64, Speaking Out, our last episode of Dualshock'd, we talked about the companies like Bungie and Double Fine and others who have come out to support Roe v. Wade, which is in what's been happening in the real world is that Roe v. Wade, there was a leak report or a leak thing about Roe v. Wade and it may be overturned and that kind of stuff. And we talked about how what we thought about the video game industry kind of going in, talking about this and their support and stuff like that. Now, we have to talk about this. So, this report comes from Bloomberg. Sony PlayStation staff fume over CEO's abortion comments. This is from Jason Schreier, and I'll get more into that. But it says, quote, some staff at Sony Group Corp are seething following an email Thursday from the head of PlayStation that urged employees to, quote, respect differences of opinion on abortion rights before entering into 5 detailed paragraphs about his 2 cats' first birthday. The email opens by addressing several current events, including the recent leak of a draft U.S. Supreme Court opinion that signaled an intention to overturn the landmark 1973 case of Roe v. Wade, which legalized abortion nationwide. Many corporations have felt pressure from employees to comment on the case, but most video game companies have remained silent on the matter. There are a few notable exceptions, however, such as Bungie, the developer for Destiny, which called the decision a, quote, a direct attack on human rights in a blog post last week. And we talked about that in episode 64, Speaking Out. Quote, standing up for reproductive choice and liberty is not a difficult decision to make, Bungie said. Receiving largely positive reactions from its employees, Sony agreed earlier this year to buy Bungie for $3.6. They bought Bungie before this statement, just to make sure the timeline. Like, Sony already bought Bungie for $3.6 million before all of this happened. This happened after the purchase, okay? Continuing. In the email seen by Bloomberg, PlayStation President Jim Ryan didn't take a stance on abortion rights, instead writing that the company and its community are, quote, multifaceted and diverse, holding many different points of view. He wrote that, quote, we owe it to each other and to PlayStation's millions of users to respect differences of opinion among everyone in our internal and external communities. Respect does not equal agreement, but it is fundamental to who we are as a as a company, and as a valued global brand. End quote. Ryan then went on to write that he quote would like to share something lighthearted to help inspire everyone to be mindful of having balance that can help ease the stress of uncertain world events. End quote. Saying it was recently his 2 cats' first birthday, and elaborating over the next few paragraphs about his cat's birthday cakes, their noises, and his desire to one day get a dog. In internal discussions viewed by Bloomberg, which haven't been previously reported, employees at several PlayStation studios expressed their displeasure at the tone of the email. Some women wrote that they felt their rights were disrespected or trivialized by the message. One employee said that they'd, quote, never been so mad about a cat's birthday before. I'm also going to pull up the Twitter the Twitter thread from Jason Schreier himself, because I think it gives a little bit more info on kind of what it is. But pretty much it's repeating what the article he wrote said. His tweet, it says, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan sent an email today asking his staff to, quote, respect differences of opinion on abortion rights. Then he wrote 5 paragraphs about his 2 cats' birthdays, their habits, and his desire to get a dog. People are not ... thrilled. Jim Ryan's email, seen by Bloomberg News, does not have a stance on Roe v. Wade on abortion, on Roe v. Wade or abortion rights, but does declare, quote, that dogs that dogs really are man's best friend. They know their place and perform useful functions like biting burglars and chasing balls that you throw for them. Yeah. And then I do have... Okay, and then I also have the Bungie article from last week, or when they said they came out and supported Roe v. Wade. Okay. Okay. So first, one, I will say, I wish we could see the actual email. I really would want to see what the word for word, what the email specifically said. I'm not, because Jason Schreier is saying all this, and Jason Schreier is a highly respected video game journalist. One of the very, 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 very few we have left in the video game space. I highly respect him. He is very good at what he does. He's a phenomenal reporter, and he digs deep and tries to find out as much as he possibly can. So, oh boy. So, Jim Ryan saying that in the email it said, respect different that urged employees to respect differences of opinion on abortion rights before entering into Okay. I don't know what you do with this. I believe that it is within fudge. I'm sorry, because I'm trying to gather my thoughts and really, because here at Brotherhood of Geeks, we like to talk about PlayStation and video games and all the fun stuff, yes, and we will rant and rave about games being bad and, bad business practices, if, like microtransactions and loot boxes. But sometimes the real world will seep into the video gaming space, and that's just kind of the way the world is today, where you cannot escape the real world, no matter what the 24-hour news cycle, all of that is here. But the thing is that this is another one. I will definitely say this: Jim Ryan definitely went ahead and pretty much committed seppuku, internet suicide on himself. No matter what, he goes ahead and he puts on an email and starts the email about the whole Roe v. Wade thing. He starts the email with that. And it's like one paragraph. And then like literally the rest, if it like it's like 5 paragraphs or whatever, literally the rest of it is him talking about his cats, and then he wants to get a dog. Great. And I'm like he's trying to be lighthearted. He wanted to go ahead and be like, you know, he says we respect everyone's opinion, and whatever your opinion is, it is fine. That's what he's saying. We respect differences of opinion. In an email and like that kind of stuff. And then he goes 5 paragraphs down long talking about his cats. I don't think that was the best tact. I don't think that was the best idea. But this is what he did. So, I wanted to kind of like so personally, I saw this report and I saw this and I didn't want to go ahead and like talk about it right away. I wanted to spend some time and really sit on this and be like, what is happening? What does this mean? Maybe we'll get more information later, all that kind of stuff. And I understand why some people are upset. I understand. I do understand why people are upset that, you know, because you came out, you said this stuff, even if it's sitting on the fence, not taking a side. We respect everyone's opinions. We're not choosing for or against. Everyone's opinions is valid, like that. We respect differences of opinion. And then he goes ahead and talks about his cats and dogs to have it be lighthearted. That's not really tactful with how he went about that. But I went ahead. I wanted to go ahead and kind of look around. I wanted to see what other people thought. Not only in the video game space, but like just video game fans. You know, people on YouTube, Twitter, social media, that kind of stuff. And it's everywhere. But what I did find interesting. So okay. I apologize if I sound sporadic, if I'm like jumping all over the place, because this is this is not the easiest thing to talk about. We like to have it be lighthearted, and for me, I saw this. I have no problem with just the top statement. If we take the first statement by itself, I personally do not have a problem that he went respect like everyone's opinions. We're not taking a side. That's it. We respect differences of opinion on abortion rights and so on and so on. Like, we respect everyone's opinion. This is PlayStation. What did he say? He said, yeah, he said, that, in the email seen by Bloomberg, PlayStation president didn't take a stance on abortion rights, instead writing that the company and its community are multifaceted and diverse, holding many different points of view. We owe it to each other and to PlayStation's millions of users to respect differences of opinion among everyone in our internal and external communities. Respect does not equal agreement, but it is fundamental to who we are as a company and as a valued global brand. That right there, that I understand. And that I do agree with. Like, me and Spectre don't agree on like almost anything. But there's a reason why he's here on the show, is because I like having differing opinions. I don't mind having debates and talks with people who I disagree with. Because I want to know why you think the way you do. I'll have my own opinion of what it is, and you'll have your opinion. And we can have a discourse and that kind of stuff. Personally, I don't see a problem with this. But I also do understand why people are upset. And why some pundits and other people are going, Jim Ryan, what are you doing? Why are you shooting yourself in the head again? Why are you screwing yourself up. Like, what are you doing? You're sticking your foot in your mouth again. And this isn't the first time Jim Ryan said. Jim Ryan did it when he was talking about, PlayStation and backwards compatibility and all this other stuff. And we ranted about that. And again, I've had my problems with Jim Ryan. I'm not a big fan of Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan very much comes off as more of a businessman, where in the past, where we had Jack Tretton and Sean Layden, they very much felt more personable, and we had a PlayStation that felt more friendly. Like we were buddies with them. And again, these are companies. They are here to make money. That is the entire premise of why they exist, is to make money. But it felt, when Sean Layden and Jack Tretton were running PlayStation, it felt more personable. Like Sean Layden, we talked about this on when we talked about Days Gone and why Days Gone 2 got canceled. Sean Layden took a lot of risks on different games that he supported. When Jim Ryan took over, that's when Days Gone 2 got shot down. Jim Ryan is playing it safe. Jim Ryan will, want to invest in games that are safe bets. And fine, if that's what you want to do. But I will say, as I said before, one of the reasons why I fell in love with PlayStation is they doubled down on their exclusives, and they also took risks on exclusives too. Some of the games were not going to do well. It's just, hey, let's try this out. Concrete Genie wasn't going to sell a bunch of money, but it's a really fun game. I love Days Gone. I don't understand why people, when it came out, people were like, Days Gone is meh. I'm like, I thought Days Gone was great. Is it a Marvel Spider-Man? No, but it's a great game, and I recommend everyone to play it. So about, continuing back to Jim Ryan, is, Jim Ryan feels a bit more corporate than we have had in the past. And this is just another example of Jim Ryan very much just committing internet suicide. It's just, the way he went about this is just dumb. It was not smart. I personally, I think he should have just, I don't know if he was pressured from the fans, from the studios, his employees, whatever, to be like, you need to take a stance on this, because other companies have been getting pressured to be like, you need to take a stance. We are for abortion. The video game space, we've only seen a very few. Microsoft hasn't said anything, or I don't believe Microsoft has said anything. I haven't seen anything yet. And I could be wrong. If there is, please let me know in the comments. But with this article, with this thing, Jim Ryan should have just kept his mouth shut and just not say anything. Let the other people deal with it. If he totally was like, we're not taking a stance, I don't get why he said anything. Again, I respect Bungie and Double Fine and the other studios who came out to be like, we are for abortion. We support this. This is our thing. I respect those companies, and good for them. Jim Ryan sat on the fence. That is totally fine. There's no problem with that. I actually like that he said that we are multifaceted and diverse, writing that the company and community are multifaceted and diverse, holding many different points of view. We owe it to each other and to PlayStation's millions of users to respect differences of opinion among everyone in our internal and external communities. Respect does not equal agreement, but it is a fundamental to who we are as a company and as a valued global brand. That I agree with. That I do agree with. But you come out and say that, then you have 5 paragraphs talked about your cat and your dog, and that's it. It's not tactful. It's not tactful. It's very, again, he's a big corporate head. He's the CEO. probably doesn't understand some things because of, like, the social and financial hierarchy and stuff. I don't know. But I understand why people in PlayStation are pissed. And it kind of does go against what... maybe not go against, because Bungie came out and said, we are for abortion. This is what we stand for. Where Jim Ryan, who owns Bungie, said, we're not taking a stance. You respect everyone's opinion. I can understand why people are pissed, because if you're not going to, like, it's the whole, you made a statement. If you're going to make a statement, make a statement. He didn't make a statement. Yes, it is a statement technically, because he's like, we're going to sit on the fence. We're going to sit in the middle. Respect everyone's opinion. And I'm fine with that. I agree with that. But you should have just kept your mouth shut then. That's just my personal opinion. And honestly, I would love to hear from you guys what you guys think. I would love to, like, have a discussion and stuff like that with you guys in the comments, whatever. You can, like, contact me on the socials and all that kind of stuff. I would love to know what your opinion is on all of this. But in closing, Jim Ryan very much put his own foot into his mouth and just committed internet suicide. And I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't get it. I don't. But if you wanted to sit on the fence, which I agree with, I understand, I get it, you should have just said nothing. You should not have gone out to be like, everyone has their own opinions, and that's okay. And then let me talk about my 2 cats who just had a birthday and a dog. Like, what? These two things don't correlate. They don't match. So, I don't know. Jim Ryan, Jim Ryan, I'm like, dude, just run the business, do your thing, and that's it. That's it. But yeah, that's pretty much what all I got to say about that. It's a whole mess. It's a whole mess and a half. And I really hope that I am done talking about this kind of stuff for a while, and I can just go ahead and either be really excited for video games or just rant about video games. And not this, but that's just me. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Brotherhood of Geeks. Like, comment, share, subscribe, tell everyone you know, tell everyone you don't know. And also press the like button. That way it helps us, it helps YouTube know that you like what we do and all of that kind of stuff. And also, please, as I said before, talk to me in the comments. I would love to hear what your opinion is on this. And then also follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/Brotherhood. I'm sorry, it is twitter.com, but it's Dualshock'd BOG. That is the Twitter handle. It's Dualshock'd BOG. That's the name of this PlayStation podcast, Dualshock'd BOG. You can also follow us on Twitch when we stream, and I will be streaming Horizon and Elden Ring, and maybe a few other games, but definitely those two. Which is twitch.tv/Brotherhood of Geeks. And then you can also follow us on Instagram, which is instagram.com/Brotherhood of Geeks, and all of the fun stuff. So yeah, hopefully next week Spectre will be back with me. This has been just me running the whole thing by my dang self. Yeah. Hopefully I was entertaining. If not, don't tell me. Hopefully I was entertaining. Yeah, you guys. All right, but with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'm Brett J. Rasmussen, and as always, live to play together. I'll see you guys next time.